Welcome to the Tactical Dent Tech Podcast. You are now part of a small underground movement of dent technicians from all over the world. We are on a mission to change our industry with innovation, intelligence, and skill. But because we don't rely on an insurance company to steer customers our way, we need to do things different. We need to do things smarter. We do that through a network of technicians that we call the Tactical Tech Movement. Now let's get this revolution started.
Hey, what's up, everybody? John Hiley here with Angela Hiley in the Tactical Dent Tech Podcast. Coming to you, not live, but on a podcast.
Yes.
I wanted to say live, though. we are live right now, technically.
Yeah. We haven't did a live podcast in like forever.
You going to pick your nose while you say that?
Sure. Nobody can see me do it.
Nice.
I can go to town and have a good old time.
Just don't create another booger wall over here.
I'm not gonna do that.
So, anyhow, many of you guys may have heard recently about there was a shooting incident here. There was one in, was it San Antonio, Texas?
No, it was El Paso.
El Paso, Texas, and one up here in Dayton, Ohio. One of the crazy things about that is that the bar where the dude was trying to run into after he pretty much did a shoot up at one bar and ran across the street to the other one is the same bar that we were talking about some of the old podcasts that Jaroslaw was out dancing in front of.
Dancing in the middle of the street.
Dancing in the middle of the street in the
Doing
same
the robot
bar that we went into, and it's called Ned Pepper's. And that's the one that dude was actually going to go run up in and probably try to kill everybody up in that motherfucker.
But the thing is, though, is like the Oregon district, there's a lot of riffraff that... Okay, so like John and I were in Columbus when this all went down.
Yeah.
And when we got wind of it and heard of it, I was like, okay, so like it's in the city limits of Dayton. Dayton is not...
It's a little bit rough down there in that area, but the point being said, though, that's the reason why the police were able to react so quickly, because they have police units everywhere.
Yeah,
and I want you guys to think about this. Dayton, Ohio police reacted and killed this guy in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Just wrap your mind around that for one moment, that they literally, if you look at a clock and watch it go 30 seconds... Dayton police, not only did they kill him, they had about 5 officers with multiple different types of guns tracking him and shooting at him. It almost made me think that they received a call previous, but that is not what's been reported. Or some sort of tip or something like that.
I don't know. See,
kept them on edge.
I don't know. I don't know. That police department and that city, they deal with a lot of stuff that goes on down there, so it just doesn't surprise me that they were able to react quickly. Yeah, they were able to take care of that. Yeah,
in all honesty, Dayton, the Oregon district is probably it's not 100% safe down there. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, I have no problem going down there, but I mean, define safe, right? Do you want to send your grandma down there? Do you want to send little kids down there in the evening? You don't. You know? So you kind of got to define the word safe. Safe for me to go down there? It has been. But not safe for, Granny.
I mean, I don't...
to be walking around there with her purse out or something.
Yeah, and I don't recommend, like, a female walking around there by herself at nighttime. It's better...
Absolutely
you
not.
have to go down there with, like, a group of people.
Yeah, so it's one of them situations where the Dayton police were, just because of, in general... that area, they had a lot of, thankfully, a lot of people stopped. Think about that, 30 seconds. They stopped this dude. Now, I'm going to take a little step back, because when I seen the dude, I said, you know what? I know this guy. I don't know where I know him from, but I know that I know him.
Yeah.
Well, as the wifey, she was kind of reading stories when we were driving back from Columbus on Sunday, and she told me that he worked at, he had a job, and he worked at Chipotle in a Marathon.
He worked at the Marathon right down the road from us.
The Marathon right down the road from us, where I have checked out hundreds and hundreds of times. I've seen him in there.
Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds of times has he probably, I paid for my stuff, and he was a cash register individual at the Marathon. And I can't even tell you how many times I've seen the dude. I never really put two and two together, but apparently he got a job at Chipotle's which is the Chipotle's that we go to probably 3 times a week.
Yeah, it's right down the road from where we live.
Right down the road from where we live. So the dude was in this general area. I personally never seen it coming with that guy. I mean, you would think you like look at a guy and you seen it coming. To be honest with you, when I think about that guy, I really don't think a lot about him. I just have like a moot sense of his personality. Anytime that I met him, or anytime I dealt with him, it was just.
I just remember seeing him in Chipotle, and I was just like, something didn't feel right about him.
See, I never felt that about him. I just always felt he was just some dude out there working.
No,
I never felt he was overly.
No. He wasn't like, he kept to himself, but the expression that he had on his face, I was just like, I don't know. You know, like
well, obviously he was a little fucking crazy. He's a lot fucking crazy.
He kind of just gave you that feeling like he was an individual that you didn't really want to be around.
Okay.
As a female.
Probably as a female.
As a female.
Considering that he did have a rape list, they found out later.
So the dude went to Bellbrook High School
which is the next community over from us. So where we're talking about, like if any of you guys who've came up here, you've been to the events or you've came around this area. So there's Centerville where we're at, and then Bellbrook's little city.
10 minutes.
Right, or less, depending on which side that you're going to Bellbrook. 5 minutes away if you drive through the country roads to get there. But so in a sense, the Bellbrook, I want to say that the marathon that he worked at would be in Bellbrook.
Yes.
And the Chipotle would be in Sugar Creek Township, which was the police department that interviewed this guy about his rape list that he had when he was in high school.
It was a list that was on the bathroom wall, and they ended up having to put the school down on lockdown. And it was a list of females that I think that it was a list of females that he wanted to kill.
Okay.
So, and then I think he was suspended from school, but then he was allowed back and he was able to graduate. I think the interviews that I have read that were from like people that went to school with him or friends is that basically like all the signs were there that he had some type of mental illness.
Sure.
And we don't even know like if his family had offered him help. They said, "Hey, I think like we need to do this or do that." And he is an adult, so he could have told them no.
Yeah, they honestly had I don't know if you guys seen, but he actually had an AR, and with the AR he had like one of them 100-round double drum magazines. And the interesting thing about it is they interviewed some of his friends and his associates or whatever, basically said he was a really liberal dude and he was anti-gun.
Yeah, he wasn't for the Second Amendment.
Which made me think that that's like another perspective to a motive that he could have had by using that specific type of gun, that specific type of magazine, because he wanted folks to start banning them, And I've heard that talk before. Look, like ban this type of rifle. I mean, look, y'all, let me tell you guys something. A handgun could have done the same damage that he did there with that rifle. I know they call it an assault rifle, which is a stupid name for it because as many times as you pull the trigger, as many times it's going to shoot. Same thing if I pull out one of my handguns and I just start racking off, I don't know if you guys know this, but I got a Springfield 9mm that has 19 rounds in the magazine. And, I mean, I could easily pack 5 magazines, 2 in each pocket. And it takes literally like a split second to reload them things.
I just honestly wish, because like now it's became so political about gun control and this and that, but like
they just use it for a reason to.
I know, but the thing that really needs to be addressed is like the dude had a mental illness. No matter, like I've even said this to you, John, I said no matter how much hate and anger that this individual had inside of him, there was a lot of sadness in there too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, obviously we don't know anybody, don't know him personally, but anybody who would do that definitely does have some sort of mental issue, obviously.
Well, yeah.
So, that being said, I just wanted to kind of just get this out there because I really haven't written anything about it. I haven't really talked about it. I'm not going to try to like glorify it. I'm not going to tell you I'm going to talk about the guy's name. We're probably never talking about it again, but I just want to let you guys know. I mean, this individual was, right here in our community, and we just remember seeing him, oddly enough.
Yeah.
That he happened to work at two places that we visit all the time, which the Marathon gas station is freaking awesome. It's right down the road from us. It's a perfect little spot. That believe it or not, though, that's the gas station that all the police officers go to.
It is.
It is. I mean, you always see the Bellbrook police officers. That's their frequent visit spot.
Yeah, it is.
They're in there every morning, so they knew the dude.
Yeah, they did.
They knew the guy probably well. And, but I just would doubt that you would see a lot of signs. I mean, think about as many people that you've met in your life. Like, I can sit here and think about a decent amount of people that if they did something like this, I would have been like, oh, the signs were there,
Well, I'm saying like the people that knew him.
Sure, but I mean, I know plenty of people as well that were really fucking weird dudes,
Yeah.
growing up that would have probably leaned towards having tendencies like this. So what I'm saying is I think everybody thinks that they can predict and stop something like this, but the bottom line is you can't and you won't, and it's not going to happen. And the moment that people like start blaming it on things like the guns and all this kind of stuff, look, man, we live in a fragile world. You get poked too hard with something, you're going to die. And our heart goes out to the victims. Mm-hmm. But keep this in mind, everybody out there, like our time is limited. And our time can be up at any moment.
Yep.
And there's nothing we're going to be able to do in this world, the way things are today, to prevent that.
That's true.
So that being said, we can do things to try to make the world better, but it's just not going to change overnight.
No, it's not.
And there's not one specific thing that we can change or pass a law or do something to correct that right now. And, I hear some people talking about, well, Canada, culture is so much different. I mean, the culture of America, in my opinion, I'm just going to be honest, I don't think we carry a shitty culture in general. And I'm just being honest, and I'm trying to be as real as possible with it, because I don't think all of us have that, but in the average trailer park living type individual that you find here, it's a shitty culture. It's a culture that where and there's a lot of cultures that have this ingrained in them. We have a welfare culture. We have a culture that's being brewed in this country right now where everybody thinks that they should have something for nothing. They should get something for free. We're breeding a culture of people that feel that they need to take, that they're going to take from other people to live on their own. We're breeding a welfare culture in this country. It's continuing to get worse. And, that is not a good direction that we're going in. Now, I'm not saying every American, because that's one aspect of the culture. The other aspect of the culture is we have the greatest entrepreneurs in the world. We've got the strongest businessmen in the world. We've got people that are making the biggest changes in the entire world. So I got to say, with like the worst culture, that we have like aspects of really horrible culture, and then we've got aspects of an amazing culture. And I think what we need to focus on is like, how can we take and all these amazing aspects of the great culture and teach the people from the shitty culture on how to adopt these amazing traits and these aspects. That's where the focus really needs to be. And I've actually listened to a podcast from Rabbi Lapton, which was an amazing podcast. And he talked about this. Like, if you look at most Indian families, and I'm talking about people from India, if you look at most Indian families in this country, and no matter what you guys think about them, I know they come in, oh, that's too expensive. All that shit aside, do you see many of them on our welfare system?
No. Uh-uh.
You know why? Because culturally they won't accept it. Because it's shameful, okay? Culturally, they won't accept it. And that's huge, because our country and our politicians have this idea that we can throw things like money at the outside of a culture,
yeah,
and it's going to affect the inside of the culture.
Yeah.
But what it does when you try to affect a culture from the outside, it ruins the culture. It's almost like I'm going to help these bears by hand feeding them human food. Well, pretty soon
not gonna help.
they don't even know how to hunt.
Yeah.
And then they're wrecking, they're wanting to take over, they're looking to steal shit from a picnic. I mean, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They can't like help themselves anymore. So we literally wreck the ecosystem by giving people something.
I totally get that. But I mean, there is a time to where we do need to help people.
Of course, there's a time.
I just think like there's just so many people that has taken advantage of the shit. That's what's happened.
Well, you know what used to happen like back in the day when people would help each other? A community would actually get together and help that person.
Yeah.
The problem is with the government stepping in and forcing help. Or, taking that and giving that assistance is next thing you know, it becomes what it is today when you got a group in office that is literally buying their votes.
Oh, I know.
From people. They're like, vote for me and I'll give you shit. Vote for me and I'll give you shit.
Wait a minute.
That is a.
What was the whole thing?
So let me ask you a question. What happens when we run out of other people's money?
There's no money.
Right? So what happens is the whole culture goes into poverty.
Exactly. It's gonna like the bridge will just collapse.
And the more you take from other people, eventually there's no incentive.
Nope.
All right. So I hate to tell you guys this, but people work for energy to create more of themselves. Basically meaning money is energy and it's an extension of yourself. If you're not making it to work, or if you're not growing, it's counterintuitive to even work.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it's just...
Because then it would get to the point where people are just like, fuck this shit. They're taking all of this. Why in the hell do I even want to do anything?
The healing in a culture needs to be healed from within. Mm-hmm. And it honestly, like, we're getting to the point where there's some cultures out there that look at the welfare state and they applaud it. I think I've actually said this. I had a niece that actually was bragging on Facebook that she got Section 8.
Yeah, but she's
and people were commenting like, "You go, girl! You got Section 8. You go, girl! You finally got on government housing. Woohoo!" You know, I mean, shouldn't that be fucking embarrassing?
Yes. I mean,
now
she's
that being
not
said,
on
she's got her shit together now. I will give you guys that. There's a happy ending to that story. She's got her shit together. And, you know, I'm not going to go into details of how she did it, but she got her shit together. She owns her own house now, and she's doing great. But at one point, that just made me think, like, wow. Like,
do you ever think it was just at the time of her mindset? Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. But the crazy thing is there's an aspect in our culture that actually, like,
I know, celebrates
that shit.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I can even tell you guys a story, and I'll go back. My dad, he was a hustler. Like he would literally, he would sell cars to people, and he just took care of anybody. Like he took care of everybody and anybody. Mm-hmm. And he had a used car dealership, and it was just a bunch of old used cars. He would sell about 300 and some cars a year. Mm-hmm. But he would do things like he would accept food stamps as payment. And,
your mom was so embarrassed about that.
So like he would send so he had a salesman. His salesman was Smitty, which he knew everybody in town, but Smitty was a real drunk. I mean, Smitty, he would wake up in the morning and the first thing he would do is crack open a beer. He'd only eat crackers throughout the day.
That's horrible.
He was my dad's salesman. Everybody in town knew him, man. This is old school business. This is the way shit was done, you know, back before everybody became all professional and all this kind of stuff, right? So Smitty would literally go into the store because Smitty didn't give a shit. Yeah. You know, he would literally go in the store and be the guy who was paying for the groceries that my mom would buy because my dad took some sort of trade and took like a down payment in food stamps.
Yeah, but back then food stamps was like Monopoly money. Remember? It was like colorful.
Monopoly money.
Yeah.
So like Smitty's like walking through, and my mom was so embarrassed too to be with him. And he's like walking through the store, and he's got the food stamps hanging out of the back of his pocket, and people just walking up behind him. You just see food stamps like waving around the back pocket. But the thing is, though, people were embarrassed back then.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
You know, people were like, you know, people were embarrassed to use it back then.
It was like something that they didn't want to have to be on, but they knew that they had to because at that time they weren't able to really provide for themselves the way that they wanted to.
But you know, I really think things have changed now. We've got a state where
they've really
people are just like,
it.
I got that welfare card, yo. You know what I mean?
I know now it's like a debit card, so there's no shamefulness feeling when you go into the grocery store.
Right. So, whatever you guys think about that, that's just my opinion on it. I mean, create your own opinion, form your own opinion. I don't listen to a bunch of talk radio. I don't really watch a lot of news. That's just my honest opinion. And, I'm an entrepreneur through and through. So I believe that people, to find happiness, need to find the expression that's inside of themselves where they're delivering value to the world.
Absolutely.
Okay. So
I totally agree.
But anyhow, we're good. People were trying to contact us, asking us if we, making sure that we were.
We want to hear something, though, that's kind of like fucked up. So, like, these national news, what was it? CNN and Fox News. So they're like down there in the Oregon district, broadcasting, doing this, doing that, saying that or whatever. Them fuckers, like, left their trash. So they had like, those things where they plant trees and then it's like the tree is inside like a display. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like it's in its own little vase, or not a vase, but like planter thing or something like that.
Yeah.
There were Starbucks bags and trash just everywhere. They left their trash there. Instead of throwing it away, they just left it out there.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up, especially considering the situation
because it's basically saying like, them news channels, they basically didn't give two shits. They were just down there getting their glorified moment, and then after it was done and over with, they like, peace out.
Yeah.
We're just leaving the trash.
I just wonder
all over
who
the
left
place.
the most trash, Fox or CNN.
I think it was that they both, contribute. There was quite a bit of trash. Really it was, because there's a place that's down in the Oregon district.
Who in the
it's
fuck?
a business, and they took a photo and they said,
but in all honesty,
thanks
like
at CNN and thanks Fox News for not throwing your trash away.
Who in the fuck just goes somewhere, leaves trash, and just walks away when there's fucking trash cans everywhere?
They don't give two shits.
But that is, you know what I mean? That's not giving two shits. That's like common shit that you just do as an individual. You pick up your fucking trash and you throw it away.
Maybe they felt that they were just like so important.
Well, that's kind of stupid because number one, them businesses all got closed down for like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
They had to run investigation. They had to do hazmat. So not only do the businesses get closed down, but when they come back, they got to pick up people's shit.
Yeah.
So anyhow, guys, that's about it. We just wanted to touch base.
No, funny story time. We always got to do a couple funny stories.
Well, I just got to say though, everything goes out to you just want to tell shit that I've done. She just watches me do things and then remembers them and says, I'm going to tell everybody this story. I'm going to tell everybody that story, so. Because
it's funny.
But anyhow, our hearts go out to all the victims with both the shootings. And I think there was even something that happened in Chicago.
Yeah.
So just horrible shit. And that's about all that we've been contemplating and thinking about, it seems like, for the last couple of days. So,
yeah, I think it's been crazy. But you got to think about positive stuff, too.
Yep.
Positive and happy stuff.
Time to move up and move on.
Yes, absolutely. So the funny stories was there's 2 of them. And so, like, one Saturday morning, I'll tell one, and then I'll tell, like, the real extra funny one. So, like, the first funny one, we're, like, on a walk Saturday morning. And if anybody knows John absolutely hates geese. He does not like the geese in our community. So we are walking through the hospital parking lot, and there is a big crowd of geese, a whole bunch of them. And it's me, John, and Layla. And all of a sudden, these geese look at John, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, next thing, we're probably, 25 feet away from them or something. And all of a sudden, they take off, like, running, and then they start flying and squawking. And I was like, John, they were like, oh my God, there he is. Like, in real form. He's not a myth.
The guy who tries to run us over with a big truck, and now he has a 4-legged beast.
And Layla wasn't even doing anything. Like, she wasn't
normally them fuckers don't fly away from you, and
no.
But yeah, our the dog that we were walking is Layla. She's one that we like to take on walks, but she is a American Bulldog. She's like a 90-pound American Bulldog. So I was like, kind of interested. I was like, let's go fuck with these geese.
Yeah.
And walking up towards there, and them things just looked at us, and they started waddling away.
Like
and next thing you know, the little bastards grew some wings and flew away.
Yeah, they just flew away. There was probably, about like 10 or 12 of them things?
Yeah.
I mean, I was just like, what the fuck? This normally never happens. You get closer to them, and they start coming at you and start hissing at you. No, that never happened. That's because they know. They know who you are, John Hiley.
Well, I do try to, you can't run one of them things over. I'll just let you guys know. So, like, how they give you that schmug look when they're walking in front of your vehicle and you completely stop? If you floor that motherfucker, they'll get out the way.
Is it just in the state of Ohio that you can't kill them, or is that like
everywhere? It's everywhere. But like
everywhere?
I said, you can't kill them, though. You can come plowing towards them with your vehicle. And, I mean, everybody, like, stops and makes it this big old deal. And I'm like, they don't play that shit with me. They don't play that shit with me.
Word got around in the geese community.
Yeah, well,
about John Hiley.
And to be honest with you, as many as I've you know what? There's a geese in front of me, man. The only time I will stop is if they got babies. I'll let the little bastards cross with their babies, and I don't know why, but I can't.
They're so cute.
I can't go after a baby. But if they're full size geese and they're walking in front of my car,
they know better.
They're like, oh, wait a second. They're like, hey, this guy's not breaking. They're like, oh shit. They're like, oh wait, oh wow, and then somehow they all disappear.
Shit's just flying everywhere.
Yeah. The second story she's getting ready to tell is that I ended up taking Odin
oh my
into...
God. So we went into Lowe's. We're
trying to socialize our little dog Odin. And I took him into Lowe's, and for whatever reason, I'm holding him, and I dropped the leash, and he took off running in the middle of Lowe's.
Like full speed.
We're talking to like 4 or 5 people. They're asking us what kind of dog he is and all this kind of stuff, And the leash falls out of my hand, and he starts running, and he thinks that the leash is chasing him. So it's like one of them retractable leashes, and it's bouncing behind him. So he's scared shitless, and he's running away from it, and I'm chasing him at the same time. I had to dive to catch him in the middle of that store.
But this dive was so I was so impressed with the dive because, like, John is, like, extremely flexible.
And when I finally caught him, he shit a little bit. He shit himself.
I know, but the way that you dive, like, it was like so John's like one leg. Okay, so it would be his left leg was straight out at a point, like he would have its toe pointed. You had your toe pointed, and then the other leg, which had been your right one, it was like you were getting down on one knee. I don't know, but he was all stretched out, and I was just like, I had to hold it in because, like, I'm gonna hold it in, and then we're gonna walk over into the other aisle, and then I can finally laugh about it.
Yeah, and all these customers, like, there was people talking to us and stuff like that, and all of them was just like, nothing to see here. And then, of course, Odin, when I grabbed him, he squealed like I had hurt him or something like that, and made it look even worse, made me look like I was kind of a dog beater at the same time, and I had to, we had to take the walk of shame in front of everybody that was watching us after I finally got him.
I wasn't doing the walk of shame, that was you and him.
So, but anyhow, y'all, we out. Appreciate you. See you on that next one.
And remember, it's all about the motherfucking hustle.
Pew, pew.
Bang, bang.